Right. Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always ready to jump in.
Well, today we're going to take a look at something a lot of English learners struggle with.
Okay.
But this is a really interesting case. We're diving into the grammatical challenges that Thai speakers face when learning English.
Yeah. And this is a really interesting area because we're not just dealing with different vocabulary, it's
Yes.
entirely different ways of structuring thoughts
Of
and
course.
expressing time.
Exactly. We take it for granted, like tenses,
Mm.
articles.
Uh,
But those things simply don't exist in the same way in the Thai language.
right.
So how does that fundamental difference kind of impact a Thai speaker's journey to mastering English grammar?
Well, imagine trying to learn a game
Okay.
where the rules are constantly shifting.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it's like for Thai speakers grappling with English grammar.
Interesting.
So, for example, because Thai doesn't use specific tense markers, learners often struggle to internalize the concept of verb conjugation, which is, fundamental to English.
Right.
So, a simple sentence like, she went to school yesterday might come out as she go to school yesterday.
Yeah, it's like their brains are wired for a completely different system
Yeah.
of language. And it's not just tenses, right? Articles, those tiny words a and the, also cause a lot of confusion.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The concept of definiteness, which, we express through the, simply doesn't have a direct equivalent in Thai.
Right.
So you can imagine how tricky it can be for learners to grasp when to use a, an, or the correctly.
It's like a whole other layer of complexity.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious about other grammatical areas that might trip up learners. What about prepositions? Those little words to, on, in, they seem to cause problems for many English learners.
That's a great point. Prepositions are notoriously difficult for, learners of any language, but
Hmm.
they pose unique challenges for Thai speakers because, for example, in Thai, you might say, I go market instead of I go to the market.
Right.
This direct translation, often leads to errors.
Right. It's almost like poetry in a way, leaving out those prepositions.
Yeah.
So we've talked about tenses, articles, prepositions. Are there any other kind of key grammatical differences that we should be aware of?
Yes. Pronoun usage can also be tricky. Thai doesn't have gender-specific pronouns like he and she.
Oh, interesting.
So a Thai speaker might inadvertently use he when referring to a female.
Gotcha.
These errors are rarely intentional, of course, but,
Yeah.
they stem from the fundamental structural differences between the two languages.
So we're really seeing a pattern here.
Mm-hmm.
These grammatical errors aren't just like random mistakes. They're really deeply rooted in how the Thai language functions.
Yes.
It's like translating the very structure of your thoughts
Right.
into this completely different framework.
Yeah, exactly. And understanding this is crucial for, developing effective teaching strategies. Instead of just drilling grammar rules, we need to help learners bridge the gap
Right.
between these two very different linguistic worlds.
So how can we make this process easier and more effective for Thai learners? You mentioned storytelling earlier. How does that help with grammar?
Well, think about it. When we're immersed in a good story, we naturally absorb
Yeah.
the grammar, the
Right.
sentence structures without even realizing it.
Right.
By using engaging stories to teach grammar, we can, tap into that natural learning process and
Yeah.
make it more enjoyable. Imagine, learning past tense verbs by narrating like an exciting adventure in English.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. And of course, we can't forget about the incredible potential of technology in language learning.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got grammar checkers, personalized apps, even AI tutors these days.
Oh, absolutely. Tools like Grammarly,
Yeah.
can provide real-time feedback while, AI-powered language learning apps can tailor lessons to a learner's, specific needs and weaknesses, focusing on those areas where, Thai speakers typically struggle.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about these AI tutors these days that can adapt to your individual learning style.
Right.
It sounds like a game changer, especially for tackling these specific grammatical challenges we've been discussing.
It really does have the potential to personalize language learning in a way we've never seen before.
It's pretty fascinating to think about how technology will continue to shape the future of language learning. So to bring it all back, it seems like the key to helping Thai learners master English grammar is to understand the why
Yes.
behind those common errors. It's not just about memorizing rules, it's about bridging the gap between two fundamentally different ways
Right.
of using language.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And by recognizing this, we can create, more effective learning experiences that are both engaging and insightful.
Great points. Before we wrap up, I'd like to leave our listeners with something to ponder. How might AI-powered tools change the landscape of language learning, specifically for addressing these types of grammatical challenges?
Right.
It's a question worth exploring, as we move into this exciting new era of language acquisition. Thanks for joining us
Thank you.
for this deep dive.
I will see you next time.
See ya.